We have a faction war on our hands. Hello and welcome to Always Elite. Today we're going to review AEW Dark from Philadelphia and AEW's Dynamite, episode number 4. We're going to start with the dark stuff from Philadelphia that was after the show went off the air. First up was Brandon Cutler versus Joey Janella. It was back and forth most of this match. Nobody had a real clear advantage. Janella ends it with the top rope brainbuster and the pin. Next, we had Leva Bates versus Nyla Rose. Leva had the early advantage with help from Peter Avalon. But Nyla just overpowers Leva to take back control. Nyla ends it with a powerbomb and a pin. Last match on this for AEW Dark was Strong Hearts, T-Hawk and Seema, and a Private Party against the Young Bucks and Cody and Dustin. It's great tag team wrestling. Young Bucks take control late in the match. Everyone gets in their finishers and their signature moves. There's a super kick party and an unnatural kicks and a final reckoning from Dustin. And a pin. Dustin, Cody, and the Young Bucks win. But before we get into AEW Dynamite for the day, why don't you like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to stay notified on what's coming up next. AE Dynamite starts out right away with a tag team tourney semi-final match between Private Party and the Lucha Brothers. Both of these teams are so damn good. I didn't think Private Party was any good at all, but after this match, man, they could step it up with the best of them. Back and forth for most of the match. They were so evenly matched at this point. Phoenix can really fly, though. He can pull off some sick moves while in the air. In the end, Lucha Brothers take control. They execute Zero Fear Factor and get the pin on Mark Quinn. Lucha Brothers advance to the finals in the tag team tourney. Next, we had the other tag team tournament match between SCU and the Dark Order. Quick start for the Dark Order. They take immediate control. Every time SCU tries to mount a comeback, the Dark Order uses evil tactics to get the upper hand again, usually behind the referee's back. Funny moment in the match, the Inner Circle just kind of strolled through the crowd, showing their tickets in. They had tickets to the show. They weren't scheduled for this event, so they didn't come down the ramp. They just went right through the crowd and up into a skybox. Kazarian finally gets a tag and takes over for a good chunk of change, a minute or two. He had some awesome moves in there. The cool spot was the double submission by SCU to the Dark Order. SCU finishes off the Dark Order with the SCU later. It's a gory special into the GTS knee. SCU gets the pin and they win, and they advance to face the Lucha Brothers in the tag team finals next week to become the first AEW World Tag Team Champions. Next is Kenny Omega versus Joey Janela, which is a rematch from AEW Dark 2 weeks ago when that awesome match took place. Omega strikes early and often and takes total control here. Janela chops his way back into the match, but not for long. In the end sequence, Joey goes for a senton to Kenny on the apron, but misses and takes a nasty bump. Omega V-trigger, one wing angel, and the pin. Omega just beat up Joey for most of this match. Joey only had a couple of spots. Next, we had Cody Rhodes coming out for an interview with Tony Schiavone. Well, Cody's entrance is so good. I can't believe they didn't do this in other companies when he was there. This entrance is awesome. I love it how the set piece rises up and he comes up from underneath and just stands there. It is amazing. Before Cody can even speak, the Inner Circle uses noisemakers to interrupt, and Jericho gets on the mic. But Cody stops him and says, he takes a shot at WWE and says, "There's no invisible wall here. What's stopping me from coming up there and kicking your butt?" Jericho calls Cody a coward and the BI, the rest of the words, you know the word. Dustin comes down, and then NJF comes down, and at a big pop, because another music hits, it's DDP. Well, they just go right in through the crowd. They go right up to the skybox. Cody takes MJF's scarf, wraps it around his hand, and punches the door into the skybox. Literally punches right through the glass and opens the door. They brawl all over the place, out on the concourse and out into the vending areas and stuff like that. It finally gets pulled apart, and Jericho looks like he's crying at the end of this because it looks like he got hurt. And I believe from what they said that Cody got arrested and was in a holding cell in the facility. You know that's not true. We're just meant to believe that. But Jericho just looked like he was crying after he got the snot beat right out of him. It was freaking hilarious. Next up was Best Friends versus the Young Bucks. Best Friends attack really strong to start the match. But the Young Bucks come back real quick. Back and forth for most of the match. Some of the best tag team wrestling that you'll ever see. AEW has done an awesome job on focusing on their tag team division and how the matches are structured. It is amazing. Their wrestling is so good. Young Bucks hit the more bang for your buck. It's one of their older finishing moves. It's a rolling senton into a top rope senton into a 450 splash. It was pretty insane. You'd have to see it. They get the pin and the win. Next up we had Jamie Hayter, a newcomer. She's from Stardom promotion. And she was going against Dr. Britt Baker, who was in her hometown, which they used the hashtag Britsburgh because they were in Pittsburgh I thought that was kind of cool. Starts off fast, Brit taking an early advantage, but Jamie works on Britt's head and makes Brit disoriented for a good chunk of this match. Jamie took most of this match, just beating the crap out of Brit. You just keep hammering away at the head and doing all kinds of moves just to wear her down. But Brit gives Jamie the lockjaw submission, and Jamie taps out. There really wasn't much. It was one-sided all the way to the end. That's usually how a lot of other promotions do it. One team will take 95% of the match, and then there's that 5% of comeback and a win. Most of the time. Now it's time for the main event. The main event is Jon Moxley versus Pac, which I thought, on paper, looked really good. It wasn't as good as I thought it was, but it was still a good match, don't get me wrong. As Moxley walks down the ramp, Pac comes up and hits him from behind with a chair directly in the head before the match even begins. When the match finally starts, Pac is still beating up Moxley. Moxley has virtually no offense for the first half of this match. I thought it was kind of crazy. Moxley finally gains control late in the match with the one percenter on the apron to Pac. Pac landed directly on the crown of his head, and that looked, ooh, boy. Whew, that looked pretty painful. In the end, Moxley hitting the paradigm shift as time runs out. He doesn't get the 3 count for the pin. Because for this match, and most of the main event matches, or let's say all of the main event matches on TNT, the main event only goes as long as TV time allows. So it was a draw. Moxley gets so pissed off that he gives the referee a paradigm shift as they go off the air. Well, that's the end of Dynamite. What did you think? A vote in the poll above my head. So until next week, always be elite.